LiberalViewer presents.
So there was a big important breaking news story this week. No, not that story. An actually important story that broke on Thursday morning when the congressionally mandated, presidentially appointed bipartisan Privacy and Civil Liberties Oversight Board that took 9 years and the Edward Snowden leaks to actually do anything released a report highly critical of the NSA's bulk telephone record collection program, as MSNBC's Andrea Mitchell reported like this.
That new report by the independent bipartisan agency concluded that the NSA's records collection program, not the storage, but the records collection itself, is illegal and should be stopped. Although 2 of the 3 panelists dissented, they also called for major changes.
Now, that coverage already had a minor error because claiming that 2 of the 3 members of the board dissented doesn't even make sense because 2 of 3 would be the majority, not the dissent, and in fact the Privacy and Civil Liberties Oversight Board had 5 members, with 2 members writing dissents, but the real lapse in journalism came when Andrea Mitchell brought on former California Democratic Member of Congress Jane Harman, who served on the House Intelligence Committee for several key years in the growth of NSA spying, yet MSNBC's Andrea Mitchell interrupted Jane Harman's important answer to her opening question here.
Your reaction to this conclusion by the privacy panel that the data collection itself is illegal and should be abandoned?
Well, I don't think it's illegal. I was in Congress when we amended the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act and set in place safeguards and made sure that not only did this program comply with law, but it was subject to federal court review and congressional oversight. So I don't think it's illegal, but I do think we may have reached a tipping point here. This is the latest group to weigh in and say that this vast collection of data is not that useful and infringes substantially on personal privacy. The president tried to address this last Friday and said that in a short period of time he wants recommendations. But I think at this point we should seriously consider not continuing
Congresswoman
Section
Harman,
215.
let me interrupt you. Congresswoman, let me interrupt you just for a moment. We've got some breaking news out of Miami. Stand by, if you will. Right now in Miami, Justin Bieber has been arrested on a number of charges. The judge is reading the charges, including resisting arrest and driving under the influence. He's appearing now before the judge for his bond hearing. Let's watch.
No, Benjamin Craig on behalf of the state.
All right. Mr. Perez and Mr. Craig? Craigo. Okay. State?
Judge, on the case of Mr. Bieber, the state's just asking.
Your Honor, we agree with that.
Okay, what would the standard bond be?
On the count of resisting without violence? $1,000. DUI, $1,000. And on the account of expired driver's license.
Corrections, what's your on expired DL?
I believe 500.
500.
500, Your Honor.
So the total bond would be $2,500.
So that was the big breaking news MSNBC interrupted former Congresswoman Jane Harman to broadcast. Justin Bieber's bail was set at $2,500. Remember, the actual Justin Bieber arrest story already broke on MSNBC about 6 hours earlier to the extent that news was important, but interrupting a former member of the House Intelligence Committee discussing an actually important story about NSA spying is just bad journalism. Now, MSNBC did go back to Jane Harman for a good 4.5-minute discussion, and this isn't the dishonest partisan Fox News bias I've documented in hundreds of videos, but it's still a bias for sensationalism, superficiality, and the kind of celebrity-driven coverage more geared toward trying to increase ratings than increase understanding of important issues, I think, but I want to know what you think. Should MSNBC have cut from former Representative Jane Harman's discussion of NSA spying to the judge setting Justin Bieber's bail? And if ratings were the reason, do these kind of decisions lowering journalistic standards actually increase ratings for news networks in the long run?
YouTube, you decide.